Hello viewers, I am Renuka and today's remedial class we will continue the factors affecting selection of electric motors for electric drives. Till now we had studied about electrical characteristics, type of motors, type of electrical supply, and today we will continue with the other electrical characteristics, that is speed torque curve, that is based on speed torque curve the selection of electrical motors for electric drives. We know that in DC motor torque is directly proportional to the phi and armature current, and speed is directly proportional to back EMF and A inversely proportional to phi, that is flux. That is, speed is directly proportional to V minus IaRa upon phi. Now for DC shunt motor, when the supply voltage is constant, the field flux and the armature flux is also constant, and the speed of motors mainly depend upon armature current. That is, the speed decreases with the increase in armature current. Therefore, with the following figure, we can see the torque speed characteristics of DC shunt motor, which will be a straight line as the torque is constant for a speed. Irrespective of the torque, speed is constant for DC shunt motor. Now for DC series motor, as the current increases, torque also increases, whereas the speed falls. Hence, it is observed that the characteristics during starting of torque is less and the speed is dangerously high. Therefore, the motor, DC series motor, should always start on full load. Speed torque characteristics of DC series motor is the hence of this type as shown in figure below. Now for case DC compound motor, in case of DC compound motor, we can see the similar type of curve, speed torque curve, for differential as well as cumulative, but there is a difference of speed for a given torque. Now if we look into AC motors, we had studied about DC motors, the speed torque characteristics, but when we look for AC motors, basically those are classified into synchronous and induction motor, whereas induction is further classified into single phase and three phase. Three phases of the type squirrel cage, slip commutation motor, double gauge, whereas single phase is universal motor, Siraj motor, repulsion motor or AC commutation motor. Now a synchronous motor always runs at constant speed known as synchronous speed. Therefore speed is independent of the load and it is not self-starting motor. Power factor of this motor, that is synchronous motor, can be varied by changing its field current. Application of synchronous motor is in rolling mills and motor generator sets, pumps. The current and armature current and field current for the AC synchronous motor is as shown below, whereas we can see that for lagging power factor it follows inverse curve, that is, as the field current increases, armature current decreases. For leading, it is reverse, that is as the field current increases, the armature current also increases. Single phase induction motor, the constructional features of single phase induction motor are similar to that of three phase induction motor, with the exemption that starting is not provided. That is, a single phase induction motor is not self-starting. The speed torque characteristics are similar to that of three phase induction motor. As this motor is not self-starting, so separate methods are adopted to make single phase motor starting. Following are the methods to make it self-start. It can be split phase starting, capacitor starting, shaded pole starting, and repulsion starting. Single phase motors, induction motors, are quite costly and are comparatively bulky in size. With the help of separate starting devices, we can obtain the small amount of starting current. Hence, single phase induction motor is employed in some of the domestic applications like refrigerator, vacuum cleaners. Whereas if we look through three phase induction motor, they are again classified as squirrel cage, slip ring, and double gauge. For squirrel cage induction motor, all the above three types of motors are on the basic equation of the torque as given below. that is starting torque is equals to kV square RL upon R1 plus RL square plus X1 plus XL square, where RL is the load resistance, R1 is the primary or starting input resistance, RL is the load resistance as said before, and similarly is the case for reactance X1 and XL. From the above equation we know that K is constant and V is the applied voltage, R1 is the stator, that is input resistance, X1 is stator reactance, and RL and XL are the rotor resistance or output or load resistance referred to the stator side. From the above equation it is clear that starting torque is directly proportional to the resistance. Now if we looked into squirrel cage induction motor, the rotor conductors are short circuited in both the ends. Hence there is no chance for including any external resistance. Hence compared to the slip ring induction motor, this motor has got low starting torque, and of course the running characteristics of both the motors are same, as they are the same type of AC motor. For slip ring induction motor, it is possible to include in external resistance, and hence we can achieve high starting torque. Now if we look into double cage induction motor, the rotor of this motor consists of two layers of conductor in the outer cage as well as in inner cage. Hence that is the reason why it is called as double cage. Inner cage has got high inductance, low resistance winding, whereas outer cage has high resistance and low inductance winding. At the time of starting, the inner or the internal cage offers high inductance to the high frequency current, hence the current are divided to the outer cage, due to which high starting torque is achieved. As soon as the motor picks rated speed, frequency of the flowing of outer cage to the inner cage, this reduces the losses. The power factor of these motor is very less when they are compared at no load or high load, but the power factor improves as the motor tends to near the full load. Torque speed characteristics of these motors are similar to that of shunt motors. Application of squirrel cage induction motors is in driving pump sets, machine tools, and other operation where constant speed is desired. The torque speed characteristics of the slip ring induction motor is as shown below. Compensated induction motor or no lag motor. It is an improved induction motor which always works at unity power factor over a wide range of loads. The primary winding is placed on rotor and secondary is on the stator. The rotor has an additional winding known as commutator winding, whose EMF are collected by the brushes from the commutator and injected into the secondary winding in such a way to improve the power factor. The other type of induction motor is repulsion motor. Construction of this motor is similar to that of series motor, except that its armature is short circuited on itself instead of being connected in series with the stator. Its speed can be adjusted. Now we will study Siraj motor type of induction motor. It is also called as brush shifting motor, in which the power factor correction and speed control are possible. It has got inverse wound rotor induction motor, in which the stator winding is connected in Y and primary winding is supplied from 3-phase supply to the slip ring. Torque speed characteristics of this motor is similar to that of a shunt motor. It finds its application in high starting torques, that is lifts, pumps, conveyors, also where adjustable speed is required, that is paper mills, printing presses, etc. Universal motor operates at approximate by the same speed or higher DC or AC supply. It is a series wound motor. Characteristics of this universal motor is similar to that of DC series motor, and these are built up in fractions of HP to 1/4 HP. Applications of the universal motor is in swaying machine, table fans, vacuum cleaners, portable drill machines, etc. Now we look at the starting characteristics. By studying the starting characteristics of motor, is necessary to know whether the starting torque or that motor is capable of developing is sufficient to start and accelerate the motor. The torque for accelerating depends on the load torque. The load which are usually met with may be divided according to the accelerating torque requirements into the following category, that is loads classifying it with the loads requiring very small accelerating torque as compared to the full load, such as when the motor is to be run lightly. Other classification is the load requiring torque which may increases with the speed, and it may be proportional to the square of the speed, as in case of fan. Other classification is load having constant load torque at all speed, as in case of lifts. Fourth is when the motor is have to start and accelerate at full load torque, and in addition to accelerate, since some heavy moving parts are there, it may require higher starting also torque, as in case of rolling mills. For DC motors, the torque of DC motor is directly proportional to the product of flux and armature current and is quite independent of the speed. Hence, in order to have a high starting torque for a given armature current, the flux must be increased to its maximum possible value. In case of DC shunt motor, flux remains constant as the field is connected directly across the constant voltage supply, and the armature current is controlled by connecting starting resistance in series with the armature, as shown in figure below. The torque, which is directly proportional to the armature current, is limited by allowing maximum allowable starting current. In case of DC series motor, the field winding is connected in series with armature, therefore current in the series winding and armature winding is the same. Since up to saturation point the flux is directly proportional to the current flowing through the wheel, and after the saturation point flux is independent of the current and it remains constant. Therefore torque varies with the square of armature current up to the saturation point. For AC motors we had studied the torque equation, and for the torque equation given below, it is for the 3-phase induction motor. From the above equation, it clears that starting torque is directly proportional to its resistance, as we had studied before. Therefore, starting torque becomes maximum when the rotor resistance is made equal to the leakage reactance. Since the rotor resistance is not more than 1 or 2% of its leakage reactance, therefore, in order to obtain high starting torque, resistance must be inserted in the rotor circuit at starting, and it should be gradually cut out as motor picks up the speed. Additional resistance in the rotor circuit is not only for high starting torque, but also it is used to limit the starting current. This method is useful in case of slip ring induction motor only, in which external resistance at the starting instant is introduced in the rotor circuit by taking the rotor winding terminals out to the slip rings, which are mounted on the shaft with brushes resting on them. In case of single phase induction motor, following methods are employed for starting, that is pole shading. In pole shading, short circuit copper coil is placed round a portion of each pole, and this coil has current induced in it by transformer action. This causes the flux in that proportion to the pole to lag on the main flux, so that rotating field is produced and enable the motor to start by giving us the phase shift. It is also phase splitting devices are also used, in which rotating field at starting is to employ a phase splitting device which produces 2 phase supply so that motor can be started. Repulsion motor starting. Repulsion motor has got high starting torque, and in order to be able to combine with this the constant speed torque characteristics of induction motor, 2 types of repulsion start induction motor have been developed. One of the methods employ an ordinary repulsion motor winding on the rotor with a centrifugally operated device which short circuit all the commutator segment and rises the brushes when the motor reach nearly full speed, thus converting it into squirrel cage induction motor. I hope till now the factors are clear to you. We'll continue with the speed control factors which decide the selection of drive for motors for drive in the next class. Till then, keep studying. Thank you.